All right, let's just dive right into this. For years now, we've basically been spoon-fed this idea that quantum computers breaking crypto encryption is a problem for, the distant future. We've been led to believe we have this comfortable buffer, like a decade or more, before we actually have to worry about the fundamental math behind our digital assets just collapsing. Well, today in this explainer, we're going to completely shatter that illusion. Because the truth is, the quantum attack on your cryptocurrency wallet, it's not waiting for some hypothetical Q-day. Actually, the most dangerous, sophisticated phase of this entire attack is happening right now. It's happening in absolute silence, and honestly, it's been happening for years.
To really wrap our heads around the scale of what we're dealing with here, let's start with just one staggering number: 6.9 million. That's 6.9 million Bitcoin. At today's valuations, we're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars just sitting there in addresses with permanently exposed public keys. To put that into perspective, that is roughly 32% of the total circulating supply of Bitcoin. You see, when you broadcast a transaction on a classical blockchain, you're not just sending money, you're basically revealing your public key to the entire network to prove you actually own those funds. So for these 6.9 million Bitcoin, their cryptographic data is already permanently recorded. It's fully public and it is irreversibly exposed. The vault door is essentially just sitting there, waiting for a key that is literally being manufactured as we speak.
And the exposure of those keys is the foundation for a deeply chilling cyber espionage strategy known in intelligence circles as Harvest Now, Decrypt Later, or HNDL. This is the silent, invisible heist taking place right under our noses. HNDL is an active strategy where bad actors, we're talking nation-states, intelligence agencies, elite cyber syndicates, they are collecting and archiving encrypted data today. Now, they know full well they don't have the quantum hardware to break it right this second. But data storage is incredibly cheap, and these groups, they have strategic patience. They're stockpiling this data with the explicit, guaranteed intention of decrypting it the absolute second quantum computers cross that capability threshold. The entire attack is already staged. Literally, the only missing ingredient is the hardware.
The mechanics of this attack are honestly beautifully simple. Think of it like a crew of thieves stealing a massive, heavily locked titanium safe today. Now, they can't crack it open right now, but they don't care, because they know for an absolute fact that they're going to get their hands on the combination tomorrow. So step 1, harvest. They intercept and store the data. Step 2, wait. They archive it in these massive cold storage data centers. And step 3, decrypt. Once the quantum hardware matures, they just break the encryption retroactively. Boom. Everything you thought was totally secure in the past is suddenly cracked wide open in the future.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds like some paranoid late-night Reddit conspiracy theory, right? But it's really, really not. The highest intelligence agencies in the United States, the FBI, the NSA, CISA, they publicly confirmed in 2025 that HNDL is a highly active threat against critical financial infrastructure. So this is not a drill. It's not some academic thought experiment. It is a very real, active, national security level threat. The NSA's own migration guidance explicitly calls out HNDL as the main reason to transition systems immediately. The adversaries collecting this data are the exact same highly funded, state-sponsored organizations that intercept undersea cables and hack global satellite networks.
And this is exactly why your on-chain transaction history is the absolute perfect zero-cost target for these guys. Think about the difference here. With traditional data, like a corporate database, information can be deleted, right? Encryption keys can be rotated on a schedule, and servers are hidden behind these incredibly complex firewalls. But blockchain data, it is public by design. It's permanent. It is immutable. You simply cannot go back and hit delete on a transaction you made in 2018. So to harvest this data, an attacker doesn't need to pull off some crazy server breach or steal passwords. They literally just have to spin up a free archival node and download the ledger. The collection cost is essentially zero, and the potential payoff is measured in the billions.
Okay, so let's assess your own risk for a second, because your specific wallet type actually determines if you're already sitting in one of these adversarial HNDL databases. If you're rocking an early P2PK or pay-to-public key Bitcoin wallet, your public key is permanently embedded on-chain. The risk level there is critical. It is instantly attackable the very moment a capable quantum computer boots up. Now, if you have a standard P2PKH address where your key is safely hidden behind a cryptographic hash, but you've reused it or spent from it even once, your key is now revealed. It's permanently out there. Your risk is high, meaning you are a prime HNDL collection target right now. It's only the unspent, receive-only addresses that have a low current risk. But keep in mind, the exact second you spend from them in the future to move your funds, bam, your key is fully exposed to the network.
And speaking of critical risks, there is one target out there that acts as the ultimate honeypot, and it completely dwarfs all the others. Satoshi Nakamoto's estimated 1.1 million Bitcoin,
which is worth tens of billions of dollars, are just sitting in these early, totally exposed P2PK addresses. Their public keys have been fully exposed and publicly known for over 15 years now. So on Q-Day, Satoshi's wallets instantly become the highest value quantum attack targets on planet Earth. It's the Genesis fortune. A sophisticated actor with a quantum computer isn't even going to bother targeting individual retail users first. They can just go straight for the biggest, most exposed prize in the history of crypto.
So, the big question. When does this hypothetical Q-Day actually arrive? Well, the timeline is contracting way faster than anyone originally thought. Like we mentioned, in 2025, the intelligence community confirmed the active HNDL threat. But then in March 2026, we saw a massive breakthrough. Google's AlphaQubit AI framework proved that Shor's algorithm can break Bitcoin's core ECDSA cryptography, basically the mathematical lock securing almost all legacy crypto using fewer than 1,200 logical qubits. By drastically shrinking the hardware overhead required, Google basically proved that fast-clock quantum attacks, which can hijack transactions directly out of the public mempool in minutes, are a fast-approaching reality. Guys, this isn't a 2040 problem anymore. The NSA is mandating a full migration by 2030. The clock is ticking, and it is ticking loudly.
The absolute most crucial takeaway here is this: we cannot afford to just sit around and wait for Q-Day to act. NIST officially designated 2026 as the year of quantum security specifically because of the Harvest Now, Decrypt Later threat. Think about it. If your data has a shelf life of more than 5 years and it's being transmitted over classical encryption today, advanced threat modelers consider it already compromised. We have to stop generating vulnerable cryptographic material immediately. Because every single day we delay is just another day of transaction data being permanently handed over on a silver platter to these adversarial HNDL archives.
All right, so how do we actually fix this? How do we defend against an attack that's already happening? Well, it has to start at the deepest, foundational level of cryptography: randomness. Classical blockchains use pseudo-random number generators to create your private keys. It's basically like rolling digital dice that are deterministic. If you know the underlying math, they are theoretically predictable. But Qubit Chain takes a totally different, honestly fascinating approach. They use actual quantum physics to secure wallets through QRNG, or quantum random number generation. By measuring physical quantum vacuum fluctuations, they create private keys that are provably, truly random. Not even a super advanced quantum computer can predict a key that's generated by the fundamental uncertainty of the universe itself. It's brilliant.
And that foundation builds up into a complete, bulletproof architecture that they call their native quantum-safe stack. Qubit Chain eliminates the HNDL attack surface entirely, right from the Genesis block, because they simply refuse to use vulnerable legacy encryption. There is absolutely no ECDSA used here, period. All key generation is hardware-based. And for transaction signatures and node encryption, they exclusively use MLDSA and MLChem, which are the exact post-quantum algorithms officially standardized by NIST. They even threw in a hash-based backup for absolute redundancy. Because everything is natively post-quantum, harvesting this blockchain's data gives a future attacker absolutely zero value. There's just no mathematical shortcut for Shor's algorithm to exploit. They've shut the door completely.
Which brings us to one final, really critical thought to leave you with. The attack on legacy blockchain cryptography is already staged. If you have ever spent crypto on a classical network, the harvest of your public key is complete. It's done. Your data is literally sitting in an archive somewhere right now. So the only question left is, will your assets still be sitting in those vulnerable legacy addresses when the quantum hardware finally catches up? Or will you have made the move to natively quantum-safe infrastructure today? The choice is entirely yours, but the window to make it, it's closing fast.